Good morning. We'd like to, nice echo.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello. Welcome to the regular session of the Yuma County Board of Supervisors, also sitting as all special taxing districts. We'll call this meeting to order, and we'll invite Lynn to lead us in the pledge.
Will everyone please join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lynn. We'll open up the call to the public. Call to the public is held for public benefit to allow individuals to address issues within the board's jurisdiction. Board members may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to Arizona Revised Statute, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further discussion and decision at a future date. Public comments may be made in person or submitted by email at publiccomment@yumacountyaz.gov. The email forms of public comment will be accepted until 8 a.m. the morning of the meeting. All public comments will be read aloud during the Yuma County Board of Supervisors meeting, which starts at 9 o'clock. Desiree, have we received any emails?
No.
All right, we have one speaker form, and Mr. Corey Mellon.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Before I start, I'd like to thank you guys for serving. I know it takes a lot of time out of your families and your work, and I certainly appreciate it. Kind of want to bring up the Middle Mile program that we've all been working on. We had a meeting last week with county staff and kind of an update you folks of where we're at. Two key points that came up during that meeting. The extensions have not been approved. The Laguna Dam Road extension has not been approved. The Tacna roll to Texas Hill has not been approved, so that's something that staff's working on now with ALLO to update the change order to that, throwing in some value engineering, try to get that figured out, but that's something that we need to kind of stay on and keep working with to move this project forward. The second thing I want to bring to your folks' attention is the money that you guys allocated for the whole Middle Mile project. At some point, county staff determined it was over budget, and they reduced that budget by $2 million and spent that money elsewhere in the county, repairing roads or whatever. To my knowledge, that money's already been spent. Last week, we were given the first time that we've seen a budget out of the county for this program with the middle miles, or with the extensions and the ag portion of the towers. It looks like that budget's going to probably be short. So I just want to bring that to your guys' attention. That way you have the background knowledge as we move forward. I appreciate staff fast tracking everything, and we're finally getting some traction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Corey. Ian, would you follow up on that, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We're going to open up presentations, proclamations, and appointments. Does anybody have any appointments? Okay, we have two proclamations today. We'll start with Lynn for the Public Works in Yuma County.
Okie doke. Good morning, everyone. Proclaiming the week of May 19th through the 23rd, 2025 as Public Works Week in Yuma County. Whereas Public Works employees provided services to our community and are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives. And whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operations of public works systems and programs, such as streets and highways, solid waste collection, and improvement districts. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of the community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of public works officials and the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who provide public works services, are materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, the week of May 19th through the 23rd, 2025 is hereby proclaimed as Public Works Week in Yuma County, and encourage all citizens, businesses, public and private agencies, and media to acquaint themselves with the issues involving our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Vice Chair Lyons, members of the board. Santos Guerrero, the Deputy Director of Public Works. Just got something here I would like to read to show appreciation for our Public Works Department staff. This week, we are recognizing the critical work that public works professionals do every day to plan, build, manage, and maintain the infrastructure that affects our daily lives. This year's theme, People, Purpose, and Presence, perfectly highlights the three cornerstone ideals that motivate public works professionals to serve in their communities every day. Meeting the needs of people is what gives public works its sense of purpose. Many times, public works professionals will never meet those whose lives have been impacted because when things are going right, no one knows that public works is there. Yet, with or without fanfare, public works is ever present, working in the background to advance quality of life for all. Our Public Works Department plays a vital role in advancing the quality of life by providing a wide range of essential services, including exceptional customer service, road maintenance, traffic control, solid waste and waste tire management, fleet management, and managing improvement districts. I am proud to be joined this morning by individuals from various divisions who represent the dedication and expertise of our entire department. And as I call their names, I'd like them to stand, please. We have Jesus Valenzuela, he's our highway maintenance manager. Rob Kane, our fleet manager. Mike Herrera, our waste management and waste tire supervisor. Sam Mendoza, our administrative supervisor. And Rachel Starworth, our improvement district coordinator. These individuals, along with all individuals throughout our department, work tirelessly to promote exceptional service to our residents. Their dedication and commitment to keeping our community thriving is truly remarkable. I'm thrilled to take this opportunity to take advantage to acknowledge all of our public works staff and their hard work and express our deepest appreciation for the contributions to our community. And we thank you all for attention to this Public Works Week. We have some gifts for you all, like we always do. So
I wear mine all the time.
It's amazing, Mr. Vice Chair. It's amazing that a lot of people don't realize, everybody thinks public works is just maintaining roads.
yeah.
And there's so much more that they do.
Poster.
Oh, cool.
Hey, hang on, Darren, would you like to say that again, please?
No, I was just gonna say, everybody thinks public works is just roads. You know, that's all they do. But this shows there's so much more that comes with public works. So thank you guys for all the work you do.
For your recognition.
I know you guys get lots of calls, and I call a lot, and I know that you guys have been busy, especially after the weather last couple of years.
Yeah.
But we're grateful to have you guys and to have such a quality group of individuals that are taking care of the
Thank you.
county.
Thank you so
And
much.
I love it when they do our cleanups and all those guys volunteer, or not volunteer, but agree to work extra hours on Saturday to do those cleanups in my little county islands. I appreciate it.
I'm thinking he's heading down.
Hey, you know, we got all the kudos already. It's sufficient to say that I think those roads and I think of you all the time.
Yeah, thank you.
I left my wallet in the truck.
We're in the
I gotta move my wallet. Scoot over. I can't scoot over. Yeah, you gotta come over to the center. You sure? Did your wallet? Thank you. Is that a check? No, it's a check.
Thank you guys.
Did anybody have a street?
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Thank you guys.
Everybody, every supervisor.
There we go.
Next, we'll go to Darren for the Law Enforcement Memorial Day in Yuma County.
Alrighty, proclaiming the day of May 15th, 2025 to be Law Enforcement Memorial Day in Yuma County. We're a little late, but whereas in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, also called Law Enforcement Memorial Day. And the calendar week in which May 15th falls is National Police Week. And whereas Law Enforcement Memorial Days pays recognition to all the law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And whereas Law Enforcement Memorial Day is a collaborative effort of many organizations dedicated to honoring America's law enforcement community. Now therefore, the day of May 15th, 2025 is hereby proclaimed to be Law Enforcement Memorial Day in Yuma County. And I just want to thank all the Fraternal Order of Police and the local agencies that really make this happen every year. So, and the outstanding job they do. Thank all the law enforcement officers that are out there every day putting their lives on the line.
Appreciate it. Are you going to accept it then? All right. Thanks for being here.
Sheriff watching?
I don't think so.
Keep running around.
Probably.
It feels so safe to be next to. Short straw. Yes.
Right here.
In the middle.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 3, Development Services. Recognize Mr. Gary Black for his years of service on planning and zoning, and we'll turn it over to Josh or Maggie. Who's going to do it? Maggie. All right. Welcome, Maggie. Name, address, serial number? No, just
Banking accounts.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maggie Castro, Planning and Zoning Director. It is my pleasure to recognize Gary Black for his years of service on the Planning and Zoning Commission. He was appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission in August of 2005, and he has served as chairman in 2008 and vice chairman in 2009 and 2010. Gary has made recommendations on some major cases throughout Yuma County and adoption of the Yuma County zoning ordinance in 2006 and numerous amendments to the Yuma County zoning ordinance. He has also made recommendations on adoption of the 2020 Comprehensive Plan and the 2030 Comprehensive Plan, and then numerous major and minor amendments to that document. He has also made recommendations on the adoption of or revisions to the Yuma County zoning ordinance, subdivision regulations, and numerous amendments to that document as well. Additionally, he has made recommendations on some highly controversial cases, the Sierra Sands rezoning, the special use permit for the solid waste facility for CIRCO, large utility scale solar facilities, and other major projects throughout Yuma County, in addition to numerous subdivision plans. So I would like to thank Gary Black for his valuable contribution to the Yuma County Planning and Zoning Commission and to the Yuma County residents.
thank you. Tony, now he was your appointment. Would you like to say something?
Yeah, sometimes every once in a while one regrets their appointments, but not in this case. Gary's done a great job, and I want to acknowledge that we're going to miss him. And that's the best compliment you can make to anyone. Because when somebody retires, and he retired, when somebody retires, you start to think about who will do a good job of replacing him or her. And I just couldn't find anyone for a long time. I think that's the quality of people that he is.
I mean, he was at the Planning and Zoning Commission, but he is now. And other than his horses and the things he does in his ranch and his yacht in San Diego and all these other things that may sound a little bit exciting. Other than that, Gary's been a godsend to me. He's been my right-hand man for a long time, and he did a great job for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Some of those decisions, most of the decisions that the Planning and Zoning sends, we accept. Most of them highly, a high percentage of them. And there's very few times that I've ever had to talk to him or discuss with him any kind of issue at all. He's been present, he's been there, and he's done his job. And that's really all I can say about him. We will be missed, Gary.
Gary, would you like to say anything? Your rebuttal? Defend yourself.
He's wearing those Hawaiian shirts lately, but
Yeah, he is.
Only rebuttal I have goes with Forrest Gump. The only reason I got here is because I just did what Maggie said. You're welcome. That's really it. I appreciate you.
the check's in the mail.
Thank you for your service, Gary.
Yes.
That's a long
Thank
time.
you, Gary.
Thank you for all your years.
Hey,
Not an easy
Maggie,
job.
Gary, don't
Maggie,
go.
let's take a
Maggie.
picture. Maggie,
Let me take a picture.
let's take a picture.
Don't go. We're gonna put it up in the hall and chain. Oh, it's you, famous.
In the post office.
In the post office. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, hold it better.
Thank you.
Enjoy. It sounds like you have lots of.
Yeah, I got lots.
All you do is good for you, man. Not bad.
Go ahead, guys.
All right, item number 4, Amber, QIDC. Welcome, Amber.
Good morning.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, members of the board. Good morning. I'm Amber Scheck. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for the Greater Yuma Economic Development Corporation. Always have to take a breath after that. And I'm here to brief you on our project to update the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy for our SEDS for Yuma and La Paz County. It is required by the EDA for funding. It is supposed to be updated every 5 years. And at the suggestion of our regional representative, we've renamed it the Colorado River Basin SEDS. The strategic plan update outlines a unified regional vision for economic development. It identifies actionable goals to boost innovation and resilience while supporting infrastructure development and job creation. The SEDS also serves as a collaborative framework aligning cities, counties, industry, education, and community organizations across the region. The update was shaped by a strategy committee representing diverse stakeholders from both counties and from all the cities, including our economic development partners. We met 4 times to guide development of the plan. We completed a SWOT analysis and discussed the region's strategic plan. We also invited public comment by circulating the draft document online from April 15th to May 15th, ensuring transparency and broad participation. The SEDS provides a 5-year strategy tailored to our region's unique economic landscape. It doesn't replace local efforts, it supports them while strengthening collaboration of shared importance like infrastructure, workforce, and industry diversification. The strategy committee identified priority projects with several high impacts. First would be the Yuma Spaceport, which will position our region as a hub for suborbital testing, aerospace R&D, and STEM careers. The Innovation Workforce Hub, which will centralize entrepreneurship programs and hands-on technical training. The Downtown San Luis redevelopment, a project to enhance mixed-use design, walkability, and cross-border commerce. And other critical infrastructure projects like broadband, water, and shovel-ready sites that lay the groundwork for sustained growth. The action plan builds on existing strengths in agricultural, tourism, trade, and defense while opening new doors in renewable energy and aerospace. We're also leveraging our position on the Arizona-California-Mexico border to attract advanced manufacturing and international investment. So as of right now, we're finalizing the design work on the SEDS, which we will send to EDA after that for their approval. And once that's approved, the final version will be published on a website. We're working with MGM Studios. And I also wanted to clarify, we are working with a consultant to write the actual document too. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we have any questions for Amber?
Oh, keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
More business. All right, financial services. Good morning.
Good morning, Vice Chairman Lines, members of the board, colleagues. Humberto del Castillo, Chief Financial Officer. Our audit for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2024 was completed this past March. And I'm pleased to report that we received an unmodified opinion on our financial statements. As required by statute, within 90 days of the audit's completion, the auditors who performed the audit must present their findings. This audit process, conducted by our external auditors, Fester & Chapman, under the oversight of the Arizona Auditor General's Office, is a critical element in our financial accountability. It ensures compliance with federal and state requirements, and it validates the integrity of our financial statements. It also identified where we can further strengthen strengthen our internal policies and our procedures. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the hard work of our finance team, whose commitment to accuracy and transparency played a significant role. In addition, their efforts combined with the expertise of Mr. Ben-Hur and his firm, Fester & Chapman, and the guidance of the Auditor General's process and work made this process smooth. And now, with that, I will present the results of the single audit. We have Mr. Ben-Hur, and we have Ms. Stephanie Gerber on the phone joining us on a conference call. Stephanie, good morning. Can you hear us?
Good morning. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, we can. Stephanie, before I turn it over to you, I would also like to mention that it's National Accounting Day. So happy Accountant Day to all the accountants.
Sorry we didn't have a presentation or proclamation for you.
Right?
So Stephanie, happy Accountant Day. And if the board doesn't have any questions for me, the floor is yours.
No questions?
Great. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, Chairman Porches and members of the board. My name is Stephanie Gerber, and I'm a technical manager with the Arizona Auditor General. On behalf of the Auditor General, we appreciate the opportunity to meet with you today and to have our contract auditor, Mr. Ben-Hur, with Fester & Chapman, join us in presenting the county's fiscal year 2024 audit results to you. So thank you for having us. Before Ben presents the county's fiscal year 2024 audit results to you, I would like to briefly explain our role as it relates to the audit. The Arizona Auditor General is responsible for conducting annual audits of all Arizona counties or for causing those audits to be conducted. We sometimes contract audits due to our staffing levels and other audit demands. When we contract counties audits, we ensure that we select qualified CPA firms with experience in auditing counties and an understanding of how they operate within Arizona. We contracted with Fester & Chapman for the county's fiscal year 2024 audit. As part of our responsibilities related to the county's audits, we work with and provide direction to Ben and his team as needed throughout the audit. Once the audit is in its final stages, we review the county's draft audit report prepared by Fester & Chapman to help ensure the audit reports meet applicable standards and that the auditor opinions expressed within the reports are consistent with the financial statements and any reported findings. With that, I want to thank you for your time again, and we'll turn it over to Ben, who will discuss the county's 2024 audit results with you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. Good morning, Chairmen and the Board of Supervisors. My name is Ben-Hur. I'm with the Fester & Chapman. We have performed for the Yuma counties finance statements and a single audit for the year ended June 30 of 2024. Here is our presentation. Before I start the prepared presentation, I would like to start with thank you for the finance departments and the county administrators and all the team for their support and understanding of the whole audit process. Without their help, this audit is going to be really hard, difficult process. My presentation is basically two-part. First part of presentation is basically audit result summary. We have performed finance statements audit along with a single audit. So those two results is included in these presentations along with a report to the Board of Supervisors, which is a kind of required communication for the auditors, basically including what had happened during the audit process. Second part of the presentation is a financial overview. Basically, we summarize information from the financial statements included in this presentation. First of all, the finance statements audit. Like Humberto mentions, we have issued a modified opinion on Yuma County's financial statements, which is the kind of highest kind of the opinion you can get from this type of audit, which means finance statements are presented fairly in all material aspects in accordance with GAAP. We had two findings included in this report. Both are significant deficiencies and are related to the IT controls. Second report is a single audit. As you're aware, when the non-federal entity receiving more than $750,000 of federal grants, single audit is required. These four are major programs we selected and tested for the compliance and for their controls over internal controls of the compliance. We do not have any findings for this program we tested it, which means there was no mature internal control issues or no non-compliance were reported. As I mentioned earlier, report to the Board of Supervisors basically required communication for the auditors to the governance of the organizations. It includes if there was any sensitive estimations or significant disclosures as part of the financial reporting. We also happily reported back to, we did not have any difficulties in performance of our audit. We do not have any disagreements with the management during our audit process. Like I mentioned earlier, we actually have included two significant deficiencies related to that. That is also included as part of the report. Second part of presentations is basically a summary of the net positions and then statement of activities for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2024. As of the fiscal year ended, total asset and deferred outflow of $810 million reported, which including $476 million of capital assets, $224 million of cash and investments, and so on. Total liabilities and the deferred inflow of $287 million were reported in their financial statements. Out of that, $121 million is long-term debt, and then $89 million of the non-current employee benefits, pension, and OPEB, which resulted in a net position of $523 million. Out of that, $412 million is related to the net investments in capital assets, restricted net positions of $148 million, and the unrestricted deficit of the $37 million. Summary of revenues. I have to apologize for the little mistakes in here. Because state share revenues, it says auto in lieu. Actually, that is a state share revenues from the sales tax. So total revenue of $284 million was reported during the fiscal year 2024. Out of that, $81 million came from operating grants and the contribution, which is roughly about 29% of total revenue. And the $57 million came from the property taxes, and the $35 million is state share revenue sales tax, and then $20 million from the state sales tax, or county sales tax, and the $20 million is jail district sales tax revenues. Expenses were total of $231 million of the expenses were reported. $75 million, roughly about 32% of the expenses is related to the general government functions, and then $68 million were for public safety, and then $25 million were highway and streets. So that is the end of my presentation. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions?
Just one comment. I know the two deficiencies were about IT, and I received an explanation of what they are, but they've been holding on for a year, and they need to get onto it. The finding started normally as a management letter, finding something that they found. Findings are pretty difficult for me to deal with as a a former or as an executive director. So please, we need to get this fixed. The modified opinion is the highest opinion you can get, but still, when you have findings on your audit, you need to fix it.
I mean, absolutely understand that, and then I think it's like a management already have put on corrective action plans in response to those findings. Especially these days, IT related those kind of that findings is actually not like set goal. It's pretty much is kind of moving target. So as the whole like technologies is kind of evolved, and then those findings and that expected for the controls is also the move along. So I think it's just been addressed, but it's not addressed like as a whole. Like still, there is some areas need to be improved. That's I think is one of the main reasons we still put it on the finding.
Thank you.
So we've already started working with IT, and part of these findings, there's work that has been already been done in the past as a result of the first findings, but we're missing some steps, very important steps like formalizing the process, documenting the process. We need to conduct an audit. We need to have a risk management plan when financial data is compromised, or if there's a big emergency event. We need to have a plan, an emergency plan, and we need to test it, and we need to document all these steps. We've started most of the processes. Most of the processes we've started last year, but we're missing that step of formalizing and documenting and presenting the evidence to the Auditor General's office and to our external audit.
I understand. Technology is always a moving target. I think everybody understands that as we get into more and more into technology, it's going to be more and more important just to make sure that it's safe. So understood. Okay, got it.
Are there any additional questions from the board?
No.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, we'll go to the El Condado Informado. And next.
Bienvenidos al Condado Informado. El día de hoy estamos en la oficina del asesor y tenemos a Flor que nos va a estar contando un poquito de los servicios que dan para el condado de Yuma. Flor, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, gracias.
Ok, Flor, tenemos muchas preguntas y tenemos mucha información que compartir. Cuéntanos un poquito de qué hace esta oficina para nuestra comunidad.
Ok, esta oficina tiene muchas funciones, pero una de las más vistas y más cómodas para el público es calificación, exempción y asesoramiento a las propiedades.
Ok, entonces calificación. Cuéntame un poquito más de eso. ¿Qué significa?
Calificación es donde la persona, el comprador de la propiedad, tiene que reportar de si esa vivienda de ellos es su primera vivienda para que agarren un crédito de $100 a $600 en su bill anual.
No, pues es muy importante saber y pues esas cosas que nos van a ahorrar dinero. Aquí entonces las personas pueden venir a determinar si es su primera propiedad, su segunda propiedad y ustedes le ayudan a hacer todas esas determinaciones.
Claro que sí.
Muy bien.
Aquí.
Entonces, ¿y qué más? Cuéntame un poquito de los otros servicios que dan para nuestra comunidad.
El otro servicio sería exempción, que también es algo muy beneficiario para la comunidad, y ese se trata de personas que son viudos o viudas o que tengan una incapacidad de 100% o veteranos de la guerra. Okay. En ese programa hay ciertos elementos que se toman en cuenta para poder calificar y esa información la agarrarían aquí.
Ok, entonces es mucha información, muchísimas gracias. Si alguna persona tiene preguntas, ¿cómo se pueden comunicar con ustedes? ¿Cómo encuentran esta información?
Ok, aquí tenemos un website que es abierto para el público. ¿Sí? Es yumacountyaz.gov Assessor. Ajá. Esa es la red social. Otra es comunicarse al número 928-373-6040. Ok. También venir aquí personalmente a la oficina.
Ok. Yo sé que en veces a mí, como por ejemplo en lo personal, a mí siempre me gusta visitar las oficinas. Ustedes pueden ayudarles, pero también tienen las opciones de visitar las páginas de web y siempre hablar por teléfono. Así es que muchas gracias, Flor. Espero toda esta información les ayude y que se informen y nos vemos pronto.
Gracias.
Okay, thank you very much.
Question.
Yes.
That version in Spanish, is it going to continue even though Arlene is not with us?
You know, and then Supervisor Reyes, in the immediate future, we're going to be combining the mix and the El Condado Informado into one video. So for the next couple of meetings and maybe after that for another month or two, they'll be combined into one video.
Are we looking for a replacement?
We are. That position has not been posted. We're looking to evaluate the duties of that particular position.
Okay.
All right, consent calendar. The following items listed on the consent agenda will be considered as a group and acted upon by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and action. Would anybody like to pull anything?
8 and 9.
8 and 9.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent items excluding 8 and 9, 1 to 10, excluding 8 and 9.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
8 and 9.
8 and 9. Okay.
I just want to give a shout out to Lori Soft and Amelia Cortez. These two ladies are being reappointed to the Yuma County Free Library Board District of Trustees, and they have served for a number of years, and they are excellent, and they are totally involved. And I just wanted to personally or publicly thank them for their service to the library. That's all.
All right.
So,
well, thank
and with
you.
that, I move that we approve number 8 and 9, the appointment of Lori Soft and Amelia Cortez.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let you off easy.
All right, financial services, item number 1. Discussion and action item. The board will open up each of the following items separately for discussion and action. Humberto.
Hello again. Humberto El Castillo, Chief Financial Officer. On this item, I am pleased to present the proposed resolution for the Yuma County Library District General Obligation Refunding Bonds Series 2025. This resolution represents an important opportunity to tee up a potential refinancing that could deliver substantial savings for our community, but only if market conditions allow it. So a little background on the original bonds. The original bonds were authorized by voters back in 2025, and they were issued in 2 phases. 10.5 million in 2006 and 43.7 million in 2007. Over the years, we have taken strategic steps to manage this debt efficiently, completing refundings in 2015 and 2016, which saved over $10 million to our community. Now, as of July 1st, 2025, these bonds become callable. The current market conditions suggest that refunding the $20.6 million could generate a net present savings of 3%, or roughly around $730,000, if we execute at the right time and if the market conditions allow. So today, we're seeking the board's guidance, and I really want to emphasize that this resolution is about positioning ourselves. It's teeing up the opportunity, and it doesn't represent a commitment. We are not yet pulling the trigger, and we are only going to do that if we meet this threshold of 3% net present savings. So the resolution is structured to ensure we only move forward if we meet or exceed the 3%, and it is not a commitment to issue bonds, rather setting up the stage to do it, and only if it's going to benefit our community and Yuma County taxpayers. So at this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Mark Reeder, Managing Director at Stifel. Mr. Reeder has been a key advisor in this process and will provide us with detailed overview of the refunding strategy. If you don't have any questions for me, Mr. Reader, the floor is yours. Good morning.
Okay, thank you.
Did you say that the 3% meant 730?
Yes, Supervisor Reyes, 3% net present savings equals roughly around 730,000.
Why is it no less than 750?
That would not be recommended. If we go below the 2% savings, it's not recommended in the market of issues and bonds, net present savings in that kind of
I don't know,
operation.
wouldn't it be like conflicting with each other? I mean, if you get 3%, which is what you said, no less than 3%, but you get 3% and it's still 730, but you have a 750 bottom line, wouldn't you conflict with each other? Wouldn't you say that 730 would be the price, the amount you put in there?
No, what the net present savings represent is the refinancing of the debt, and we'll see the detail in a explain chart that Mr. Reader will share here.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's roughly around the savings we would get within that threshold of 3%, and that's tied to the market savings, is $700,000. So if by the time we're doing those bonds, if we're doing the deal and it's not 3%, we're not getting $700,000, then we're not moving forward.
$700,000 I understand, even 730 I understand. What I don't understand is why you go not less than 750, because you're not gonna, if you get, it just seems to be, it would be no more than 750 and no less than 3%. That would I would agree. But let's listen to the presentation and see how it comes.
Good to see you again, Mark.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Good evening. Thanks for having me back. As you know, I enjoyed working with you over the many years, and nice to see your new admin building coming along. And I know, having worked with you for many years, how serious you take the issuance of debt. You're very thoughtful and measured in that regard. And this is a situation where, as Humberto said, if we do this bond issue, because it's market sensitive, right, it will result in a net present value, cash flow, and hopefully tax rate savings for you. And I'll try to address your question. So we'll move along here pretty quick. As Humberto mentioned, time flies. County's got a wonderful library system, so good job on that. And your voters have been very generous to the county. I don't see other counties in Arizona that have really been able to pass many library bonds, but your county did back in '05, you remember, and you built some really nice, beautiful facilities. Humberto laid out kind of what we've done over the years, the issuance of the bonds. You built some nice libraries, infrastructure, and then of course over the years we remain vigilant and we watch your debt, and if there are opportunities to refinance, we want to let you know. So that's what I've been doing for you. I sometimes wake up at 4 in the morning just remembering things, and yours is one of them. So as Humberto said, you have taken advantage over the years of refinancing debt issued in '05, about $10 million in cash flow savings. We're going to show you some cash flow savings in a moment. We're going to show you some present value savings, because we got to put all of our refinancing in today's dollars, net of all your costs, and then we measure the efficiency of what we're going to do. So we thought that little graphical history of the library district would be helpful to you. Okay. So here's our current bond. So if we do nothing at all, here's your 15 and 16 bonds that we just shared with you. These were refinancing bonds that saved money from the '05, right? And lots of numbers here. Apologize for that. You got about 24 million outstanding in the right-hand corner. You're getting ready to pay off 2 million on July 1. The property taxes are already in the bank. So we're down to about $22 million. Your debt's going to be completely paid off in 34. So what, in about 10 years. So you've done a good job bringing your debt down. If we do a refinancing, we're not extending any amortizations or anything like that. So we know that's important to you. If you look at on the yellow boxes, your current cost of capital, I'm going to round a little bit if you don't mind, is about 4%. So if we do nothing at all, you're going to continue to pay 4% on your library district bonds. Okay? We're hoping to get you in the 3% money category. Bear with us. On Friday, as you know, Moody's downgraded the U.S. government from a AAA down to a AA+. That's resulted this morning in rates going up a little bit on us. So we have a sensitive refinancing here. We want to be very careful. And as Humberto said, we only want to pull the trigger if we get to the desired level of savings I'm going to share with you. So let's go 4% money. Can we get 3% money? We're going to see, okay? The bonds had a 10-year lockout, as you mentioned. That's expired. So now we're open for business if we can get it done and if the markets cooperate. Sorry for all the numbers here. Okay. The transaction at the moment does not work. We are here to tee it up to get your approval, and as mentioned, only pull the trigger if we achieve an efficient level and desired level of savings for the board and staff and the community. Column 2 is your current levy. If we do nothing at all, I'm going to round if you don't mind. You levy $3 million a year to repay the bonds in the library district's secondary property tax levy. All good?
Yep.
So we take all those out. That would be the plan. Get our 3% money, and then we drop it about $100,000 a year. That's level savings. And the cool thing about these refinancings, if we do it, we can put our savings wherever we want. We just did this for a level savings to get you about $100 a year and a lower levy each year, okay? It's not a huge impact on your secondary tax rate. I'm going to walk you through that in a moment, but nevertheless savings. So we save $100 a year. We got about $860. Present value, there's our $735,000 where we simply present value the $860 back to today's dollars. So we're coming up with $735 on this scenario. And this is a scenario that needs rates to drop about a third, about 30 basis points. Okay, that was when we did it. We woke up this morning, rates are up a little bit. So let's say we're 30 to 50 basis points away from pulling the trigger for our library district. Markets move fast, don't they?
Yeah.
So we're here investing time, energy, and effort with your approval as these markets change going forward, depending upon what goes on in the economy, what goes on with our tariffs, what goes on with inflation, all the things that you know about. We're going to wake up every morning looking to pull the trigger if we get that good news over the coming weeks and months. So I'll stop there, Mr. Reyes. This was along the lines of what you were talking about. Wanted to lay out the cash flow savings in your present value. The 3% savings down there is a present value calculation based on the savings as a percent of your bonds to be refinanced. It's an efficiency threshold number. We generally do them when we exceed 3%. I'd like to get you 4%. I'd like to get you 5%. We have a minimum of 3%, or I think what's in the resolution, Humberto, is about 750 is my recollection, 735 or 750.
Yes, Mark, it's only based on a percentage. And Mr. Reyes, going back to the agenda item, I understand your question now. Apologies. It has 750. So at the time that was drafted, the market was the 3% represented 750, and this is the most updated slide at 3.29%, and that's where I got the 735,000 from.
No, we do this, and we don't do it very often. Yes, so we just want to make sure that when the time comes, you can pull the trigger. So getting up to 750 as a savings when you may just only get to 735, it's kind of a, I don't know why we said that. The idea is to save some money every year. $100,000 savings, it's pretty decent to me. So I just don't want to get you guys in a situation where you can't pull the trigger because your calculation was too high to begin with. No less than 750 is no less than 750. You're at 735, and that was when you did the calculations. You may get there, but I just wanted to make it easier for you, like knowing that.
Isn't it 3% or similar?
Oh, no less than 3%.
Well, on the agenda item, that's the way I worded it, but on the resolution, I believe we're only using a percentage, and exactly because of that same reason.
Use the percentage. I don't have a problem with that.
Because if we get ourselves tied to a specific number, and we're missing $50,000, well, the resolution says you need this number. We don't move forward. So
if you leave it at less than 3%, or no less, not less than 3%, I'd be fine with it. I think 3%.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
It's going there, but.
Okay, very good. So, so far so good. Thank you. We're moving along pretty quick here. I don't know, sensitivity. If rates continue to drop, you can see our savings. Maybe we have $1 million of savings if they were to drop 60 basis points. So we have a minimum threshold of 3%, and you can see for every basis point, we can save another 75,000 rounded numbers. So this is really the market sensitivity of our refinancing. So we just do that to kind of give everybody a feel. Okay, now here's a really important policy decision for you. Let's say we pull this off. And our goal is to lower tax rates, right? Everybody likes that. And so a lot of numbers here, but basically if we reduce your debt from, you know, $3 million, we save you $100,000 a year. If you go over to column 9, you can see where our savings is on our tax rate. It's kind of out in the third digit. Why it's 100,000? You got a large tax base, don't you? You got a large and growing tax base. And so I'm going to show you a scenario where this is a level tax rate reduction over the years, right? So it's not going to blow your socks off, if you will, still savings. There's our tax rate, okay? Let's come back. So now here's a scenario that we shared with staff and your great library director and staff as well. It was very helpful. I'm not sure if Ashley's here or not. We've been on the phone a lot, educating, talking with staff, so we appreciate that, appreciate their time as well as yours. So here's a scenario where we're going to give you all the savings maybe next budget year 25-26. If we can get this done before the levies are set in August, let's say hypothetically we can pull this off. We can get to our 3% savings or better, and we take $744,000 savings in column 6. You see it? I like that. Okay, so there's your savings right there. So then we'll give you a 4-cent. We're going to lower your taxes by 4 cents for 25-26. I like that. Okay, then we're not going to exceed it. You know, we'll give you a little savings out long there. You see it?
Yeah.
But we're going to basically give you a 4-cent lower property tax rate on the bond side of the equation if we can pull this off. And if the board would prefer what we call an upfront savings versus kind of a level savings, or maybe we take it over 2 years, what have you. So I'll pause there. Just want to let you know that that's an option that we have for you. So any feedback the board has in terms of where you would like your savings would be helpful.
When would you like us to decide that?
You got time.
Okay.
We could certainly interact, you know, with our county manager and our CFO and our library.
It'd be nice to have some recommendations from Humberto and from Ian, just because we had reduced the total rate on the property tax side by 8 cents going into COVID, and see how we could buffer this coming back into that so that we're not deficient. Maximize the savings, and maybe we don't need to implement that 1% over the 8 years. Or that 1 cent, sorry, over the 8 years.
Okay, think about it. Nothing super urgent here, and certainly we'll communicate with our staff and our library director and Mr. McGay. Okay, so along those lines, here's a 10-year chart we did for you. Good job with your library district. Really nice level savings there, 90 cents, if you will. And then in 22-23, you dropped it down because your assessed value has increased so much, right? You've had a nice, keep up the good job on the economic front. We have 5-6% growth in our property tax base because you're growing, your existing properties are growing, right? You're adding new commercial properties and residential. So as a result of that, you can, as you know, manage that tax rate at level 88 cents the last 3 years. Current year 88.15, the last 2 years 88.15, down from 91. So I call that good job. The gray is our bond tax rate we just went over at 19 cents. So 25-26, if we can pull it off, that would go down to 14 cents, 15 cents. I like that.
Yeah.
If we miss 25-26, then we'll take advantage in 26-27 on the August levy. So we just wanted to share that with you. Here's your tax base. This is good. Next year, you've seen this in your budget meetings, or you will. You're up 5.47% going into 25-26. You're up 4% this year, 363. 23-24, you had your best year at 6.33%. So very positive trends there for your county and your library district. And so I guess really that's kind of it. I hope that was helpful to you, and glad to entertain questions.
Appreciate that. Any
Yeah.
questions from the board?
Just keep us up to date. We're still with it.
Yeah. All right, can, I get a motion on that resolution?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-14 with the change that is not contingent upon savings of not less than 750,000. It will be no less than 2.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vote is unanimous, motion carries. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Mark. Thank you, Humberto.
Yeah.
All right, planning and zoning.
Nothing fine, huh?
Planning and zoning agenda. Full legal description of property sites for rezoning cases are available for the public review at the Yuma County Board of Supervisors office. And we will open up the expedited rezoning calendar. Expedited rezoning and public hearings. These items will be opened up as a group for public hearings and acted upon by one motion to adopt the recommendation of Planning and Zoning Commission, except for any item that is removed by the board member for a separate consideration. That item will be discussed and acted upon separately following the expedited items. And I will now open up both of those right now. Does anybody want a PowerPoint presentation? Mark, Maggie, is somebody going to come and do this? Who's going to do this? All right.
Here he comes.
For a second there, confusing with the Marine Corps guy.
I'm good with that one.
Would like presentations for any of these items? Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
All right.
Open up the public hearing.
Yeah. We'll open it up to a public hearing. Going once, going twice, going 3 times, bring it back to the board. Any questions from the board?
Well, then, I'll make a motion, we approve the expedite items, rezoning case number 2509 and 2510 as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's unanimous, motion carries. It was super easy. Thank you for
That
being
one
here.
was nice. It's in my district.
Discussions regarding legislative issues. You don't get very many in your district.
No, it's a little county island.
So Chairman Pankrause wanted to prolong it since she doesn't really get much in her district.
I know, huh, man? You guys get them all.
All right, Alejandro,
Good morning,
bienvenidos.
Mr. Vice Chair, members of the Board. Alejandro Figueroa, Economic Development and Intergovernmental Affairs Director for Yuma County. State, so numbers have increased on the vetoed and signed portions quite a bit from the last update I gave you a couple of weeks ago. Committee work has quote unquote officially concluded. It always can change, as you know. And all deadlines have expired already. So we'll see what happens next. Unconfirmed reports suggest that the governor has advised postponing fiscal year 2026 budget negotiations until the legislature approves an extension of Proposition 123. Stakeholders indicated the extension currently under consideration may not fully reflect the governor's policy objectives. Staff will continue to monitor the evolution of these discussions over the coming weeks. Economists from the Joint Legislative Budget Committee, the Finance Advisory Committee, and the Office of Strategic Planning and Budgeting estimate that fiscal year 2026 could yield between $270 million and $600 million in a new discretionary funds. After accounting for mandated formula increases and inflation adjustments, several analysts contend that the remaining unallocated balance may be minimal. The wide variance in revenue projections presents an additional challenge to securing legislative consensus on the fiscal year 2026 budget, unfortunately. And I was just informed that Proposition 123, the rumor has it that it's not looking good. The Senate was thinking about coming break from the recess and coming back to work earlier than initially thought, but since the conversations and negotiations on that Proposition 123 are not looking good, they're still convening on May 28th as initially planned for. On good news, as you know, Senate Bill 1661, sponsored by Senator Tim Dunn, which is a broadband service district authority formation, was signed into law last Tuesday, by the governor. So that's a win for the entire Yuma community.
How do they match this 200 to 210,000 with just the new census tract that shows 220,000? And doesn't it kind of take us out? I mean, what's official and what's unofficial? Because these things, when they set it to a certain, they want to do it for a county. But sometimes by the time they pass it, the county's gone, it's past that point. This seems to me like one of those cases where we passed it for 200 to 210, the new census shows 220. So what does that do to this bill?
Mr. Vice Chair, Supervisor Reyes, we addressed that with with staff and the legislature. And what's going to happen is on 2030, they're going to adjust the language of the bill or the law to match the population of Yuma County.
Mr. Chairman, it's based on the 2020 census, not the population estimates that come out.
So it's based on the 2020 census. That's the answer to this question. It's based on the 2020 census, and the 2030 census will change that officially.
Yes. So we don't have to worry until 2030.
I never believed that we were like 200, but it's okay.
What's new numbers, 227, I think, county?
Yeah,
For the county?
2310. 22310.
And those are estimates. I mean, the official doesn't happen until 2030.
San Luis with 40,000.
But this is where the sausage was made.
And this was based on the census from 2020. And it will remain so until 2030.
Correct.
If the census changes again.
Moving along to the federal side of the presentation, federal component. I'm sorry. Senators Mark Kelly and Dave McCormick have introduced a bipartisan Mexico Secure Assistance Accountability Act to ensure U.S. counter-narcotics aid to Mexico delivers measurable results against drug cartels considered the principal drivers of the fentanyl crisis that has claimed more than 300,000 American lives.
And the U.S.'s security consultant this weekend was dispatched. He died in an ambush.
In Jalisco.
In Jalisco.
Yes, sir. So the State Department must craft a detailed plan for U.S. security assistance in Mexico that dismantles transnational criminal networks trafficking illicit drugs. It boosts Mexico's military, National Guard, and police capacity to secure its northern and southern borders, and strengthens civil law enforcement, prosecutorial, and judicial institutions to reinforce rule of law. The strategy must establish clear priorities, milestones, and performance indicators to track progress and assess return on U.S. taxpayers' investment. Moving along, Senator Ruben Gallego has unveiled a 5-pillar framework titled the Securing the Border and Fueling Economic Prosperity. It's not an act yet, it's a plan. So to tackle border security gaps, curb fentanyl trafficking, and modernize U.S. immigration policy. The plan seeks to protect Southwest border communities, sustain Arizona's $20+ billion annual trade with Mexico, and create a fair path to lawful status for long-time undocumented residents and dreamers. Arizona's port of entry drive thousands of jobs in daily cross-border commerce, yet local law enforcement, according to Senator Gallego, local law enforcement agencies and nonprofits remain under-resourced. Drug cartels exploit these gaps, moving fentanyl and other illicit drugs, while criminal actors evade detection. The senator argues that any effective approach must blend robust security with orderly, humane immigration reform. And then Arizona Senators Mark Kelly and Ruben Gallego have introduced a bipartisan Extreme Heat Economic Study Act of 2025 to quantify the growing financial toll of prolonged, dangerous heat waves in communities nationwide. Companion legislation will be offered in the House by Representative Ansari. The bill mandates a comprehensive federal study to capture the full economic cost of extreme heat, which will provide information which is vital for securing resources and guiding mitigation, preparedness, and disaster response investments. Lastly, Senators Mark Kelly and John Curtis have introduced a bipartisan bicameral Restoring WIFIA Eligibility Act to expand financing options for critical water quality and storage projects throughout the West. Companion legislation has been filed in the House by Representatives Jim Costa from California and Dan Newhouse from Washington. The Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act of 2014 provides low-interest, long-term federal loans for drinking water wastewater, and stormwater projects. Although WIFIA was meant to serve public and private borrowers, recent budget interpretations have deemed projects with any federal involvement quote-unquote federal and therefore ineligible because WIFIA loans are legally limited to non-federal borrowers. As a result, many cost-share projects managed largely by local agencies have lost access to WIFIA's federal financing. So this act amends WIFIA to state that assistance remains non-federal if the borrower is a non-federal entity and repayments come from non-federal revenues. It restores eligibility for hybrid project by reclassifying mixed-funded projects as eligible. Reopens the WIFIA pipeline to a wider range of water supply, quality, and storage projects across the West. By removing unintended barriers, the Act allows states, cities, and water districts to tap WIFIA's low-cost loans for critical infrastructure, lowering project costs, accelerating delivery, and improving water reliability for millions of residents. Mr. Vice Chair, that would conclude my presentation to the board today.
Questions from the board for Alejandro? Thank you, Alejandro. Appreciate that. Current affairs? Events. Lynn?
I attended the CSA events up in Phoenix, both the board meeting and the executive board meeting and a prep meeting for it. And I attended the special budget meeting. And that's pretty much all I got in
Okay.
this week.
So I attended the special budget meeting, had several conversations and meetings regarding our broadband and the passage of that and how we're moving forward. And then had a couple of different meetings with constituents regarding water and the lack thereof in some areas. And that's it. Darren?
Had the BOS special session, had a luncheon meeting with Clearway Solar, which is the new, they bought Agua Caliente, along with the superintendents from Antelope and Dayton schools. Had a nice surprise. The solar company donated $250,000 to each school to help pay down their, I think it's their, for whatever, but hopefully to pay down their debt as far as the lawsuits that they've lost quite a bit from. So I want to thank Clearway for that. Had a meeting with at YMPO with ADOT engineers and their public relations people, reference to the roundabouts they're wanting to put in at Imperial Dam Road and Aberdeen Road. Kind of discussing there's got to be better ways than the roundabouts, just because the issues that they bring along. Martinez Lake homeowners meeting, had a community meeting in the foothills, and then numerous other different meetings with constituents.
Thank
You were busy.
Tony?
I attended the special budget work session like everybody else did, and very, very good. I'd like to thank the budget review team for their organization of that. That happened very fast, very quick, and it was very nice. I also went to the groundbreaking of the Harvest Academy School out in South County, which is an important development for us. It's a $30 million building. I keep harping back to the fact that we haven't raised the tax rate for 10, 12, 14 years because of that, because we keep getting so much growth. It keeps absorbing that increase that sometimes we find necessary over the long run. The other thing that I want to talk about briefly is the budget, the preliminary and general budget. I have plans. I have rented a house in July for 25th, the 26th, and 27th of July. The 25th is, there's a meeting the 21st of July, and then there's a second meeting the 25th of July. There's a NALEO 42nd Annual Conference, which I don't go to, and I don't know if it's a National Association of Local Elected, Hispanic Local Elected, normally. So is there a possibility that we can look at the budget and make it the 23rd? I understand that it takes a month at least to read between the preliminary, I said a month or 14 days?
So, Mr. Chair, in June, the second meeting, which would usually be the third, has been moved to June 23rd, and that accommodates the advertising timeframe between the tentative and the final budget. So June 23rd would be adoption of the final budget.
It says June 25th, and the 23rd is not a problem for me, and we could move the July 21st to July 23rd. I mean, to July 23rd or 24th. The 25th happens to be like 32 days or something. It presents a problem for me, but scheduling wise. So I just want you, there's plenty of time to make sure that we meet that deadline. Okay?
Yeah, that July 25th meeting is related to the special election, the
Oh.
primary election certifying the results.
You guys can do that.
Yeah.
All right, got you.
All right.
So it's not for the general, for the budget.
No, sir.
Budget will be approved on the 21st.
The final budget will be approved on June 23rd, correct?
Wait a minute. June 23rd is the final?
Correct.
Isn't it the preliminary? We approved the preliminary already?
You didn't approve, I presented the recommended, and then the tentative is June 2nd,
Oh,
your
that's
next meeting.
So the
That will
tentative
require
is June
action.
2nd, and then that's why we moved it, because we need at least 14 days advertisement. So June 23rd, June 23rd, we will approve the general, the final.
Yes, sir.
And it will be effective July the 1st.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
I don't know why I was confused with July.
Go back to sleep, Tony.
That's a special election. You guys can do that, especially considering.
All right, Ian.
Yeah, you recorded. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a few things. Forefront ED Governing Group meeting with Alejandro and Chairman Porches, and others, of course. GYDC luncheon, the tech-driven future, interesting topic. County Managers Association meeting, local workforce development board meeting for Arizona at Work. And I had a reminder to remind you about the June 23rd meeting, but I think we've covered that.
Wonderful. All right. So
One more thing before we leave.
Okay.
I like to remind everybody what's happening with the day palm trees down on County E now, that there's a connection to Somerton from the new port of entry. That is happening more and more. Every time you drive down County 19, Somerton Avenue, County 19, you see how they're putting more and more date palm trees in there. That's no matter what no matter how far you move it east, it's moving east so fast that I think we need to secure the right of way there. That's a kind of a preventive measure. Otherwise, we're gonna have to condone that property or pay very high for it, because every time they put a palm tree, now palm trees grow like the desert, like, you know, they grow up and they become very valuable plants when they start producing dates. And so before they plant them, because they have to plant them somewhere, and they're planting them there, and we need to make sure that we have the right of way before.
To be able to widen Somerton Avenue?
Be able to widen Somerton.
Can we place
Okay.
that on the future agenda, please?
Let's just put that as a.
You bet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We need to get that right.
Otherwise,
as
Minda's
soon as
gonna-
possible. Otherwise, we're gonna be moving and moving.
Well, down over there. Duly noted for a future agenda. Thank you, Tony. All right, anything else? Meeting's adjourned.
Quickly.